Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. So today I'm going to be practicing a look for the upcoming production of Dracula here in my local theater. And I've been asked to do the makeup and I've been going back and forth with the director about, kind of what we're expecting, what kind of look he wants for all of the actors and actresses. And so we've decided to go with more of the costumes are gonna be more of a Victorian Gothic type style. So we're gonna go darker with the makeup, but not bloody, not gory. We want to be very classy, sexy, fun, but dark. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on today. Plus, with it being closer to Halloween time, I thought that this could be a fun costume idea anyway. So here we are, okay? So because I'm going to be doing lots of stuff today, I'm going to pull my hair back and... All right, so first things first, we're always going to start with primer because primer is what's going to keep our makeup in place. I know this hair is not obviously going to look perfect, but I also don't want it to look like a total nightmare. So first we're going to go ahead and apply primer all over. Like I said, this helps keep your makeup in place, helps keep it from creasing, keeps it from smudging, and really just, all around great, but especially if you're going to be on stage under the lights, this is going to help it not budge throughout the night. So this is really important. I also like that you can definitely use this on your eyelids. Now this particular one is a little bit more of a silky feel, which I really, really like. It does make blending easy. And because I'm going to be using a cream eyeshadow on my eyelids, it's going to help that go on real smooth versus more of a tacky style of primer. So first things first, we are going to start with the eyes. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to give the primer a little bit of time to set up on my face. Plus, if I get any fallout from my eyeshadow that would land on my face, no worries about messing up my foundation. So just like normal with any, sort of eye makeup look, we're still gonna apply a transition color as our base. So I'm gonna be using a blending brush to do that. And I'm gonna only be using matte shades of makeup. There will be no shimmer or glitter at all for this makeup look. So with that being said, I'm actually going to go ahead and start with this pretty color here. It's kind of a grayish taupe type of a color. And I'm going to use this as the transition color today because I think that's going to provide a nice base without being too light or too dark. So we'll get that on. Now, I've never worried too much about the whole blending process. We'll be doing that as we move throughout the eye look, so don't worry about that right now. Now, if you're doing this at home and you want to make this more of a shimmer look, absolutely go for it. Use shimmer shades that are similar, but for the look that I'm creating for the theater, we're gonna stick with all matte shades because there's no glimmer and glamour for Dracula, okay? So, all right, so we've got our base shade down here for the transition color. Now, you'll notice that comes over on the top of the eyelid here a little bit up to the brow bone. That's exactly where you want it to be. Next, I'm going to be using this matte black cream eyeshadow color. This color is called Magnificent, and I'm going to be using a cream shadow brush to apply it. The brush is great because it's not, a fluffy brush. It's a little stiff, and it's really just going to help pick up the pigment and get it applied very nicely to your eyes. So we're just going to go all over the entire eyelid with the matte black shade. So as you apply this, make sure that you're getting it all the way down to your eyelashes. And as I go along the crease area, notice that I am just kind of carefully dragging it, and that's kind of giving me that base right there, right where it goes into the crease. Now I am still going to use a crease color as well, and it's going to be a black, but it's going to be a pressed powder shade instead of a cream shadow. The cream shadows just don't blend terribly well. They are really good for putting them on and staying in place. So I want something that's going to be a little bit more blendable for the actual crease color. But I really like cream shadows because they are easy to work with. you can quite literally just pat them on, especially if you want more coverage. So I'll just give you guys an idea what that's going to look like. So, you know, it's really hard to kind of smooth out your cream shadow in the crease. So that's why applying a powder cream or a powder crease shadow is going to work out really nicely for us. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to use a crease brush. It's one of these little guys. It's small. It's not very fluffy because they're not meant to bend a lot. And so it's meant to really just pack that color right in the crease. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose this matte black color right here. And to make sure you tap off any excess. You don't want to be blowing on your brushes. And I'm just going to apply that right where the end of my cream shade is, and then right into the crease, and then just work on blending that softly there. And again, we can always come back in later and blend this with an actual blending brush, but for now, all we're really focused on right now is getting this color on. And then we can kind of fine tune it, clean up the edges, all that kind of stuff as we move along. Now, you don't want to get, you know, out of control and make a big mess on your face. You know, you do want to have some control over it while you're doing the makeup, of course, but you do want to go back later, clean that up. So don't worry, you don't stress about that part of it too much right now. Okay, so what I want to point out here, quick little tip that's great for using a small brush where you have control. So if you want to kind of pull out your crease color and really make that defined, kind of go from the waterline here and act like you're pulling that straight up. And that can give you a really cool look without having to get too detailed with eyeliner and whatnot. You can create some really crisp lines. And like I said, we'll touch that up a bit with some concealer and a brush later, but that kind of gives us the framework for the look we're going for. And then we've got our transition color, of course, that's popped up right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a liner shader brush. This has the liner on this end and the shader on this end. Hey Wesley, hey Charlie. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this matte, kind of an ivory color, and I'm going to apply that up by the brow. And that's going to be our highlight color because, like I said, we're not using any shimmers or anything, but we do still want to have some highlights and contours, of course, but we're going to be doing all of that with matte shades. So we'll pack that in up here, and we can always come back and add a little bit more as we complete the look. So then what I want to go back and do is take that same transition color that I used earlier, which is this one here, add a little bit more, and just go right over the top of that powder color, because I don't really want to blend that too much. But I do want that to be a little bit darker up top, closer to the brow bone. See, just a little bit of difference just gives it a little more depth there. And we'll pull that all the way out there. And again, we'll be able to clean that up once we start working on the face makeup. So any of those little edges and stuff will be taken care of later. So don't worry about that. Okay, next, I'm almost going to repeat basically the same thing on the lower lashes. I'm going to take that same transition color that we've been using, and we're going to go right under here with it. Provide ourselves a little base. Now, I'm not going to use cream shadow underneath here. I am going to use a black eyeliner. Oh, hey, JD. All right. Okay, so let's do black eyeliner. Now, what I want to do with this is two things here. First, I'm going to line the waterline with it, and that's going to make the look a little bit more sharp and certainly darker. If you were to line your waterline with a white color, that would actually make your eyes look bigger. But for this look, we want it to be dark and bold. So we're going to put that on there. See, look, I got black eyeshadow on my finger. That's why you don't do your foundation first, because then I would have just messed up my foundation. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same black eyeshadow, the powder eyeshadow, and I'm gonna go back to that same little liner shader brush that I used up for my brow area, and I'm gonna take that same black color with the liner in here. I'm gonna go right under here with it. Connecting up, see how that connects right there? Connect it up to the top. And that is gonna give a slightly softer look. Like I don't want harsh lines. It's supposed to be bold, but it doesn't have to be harsh. If I were to take the eyeliner and do this under here, you know, underneath the lashes, that would make a little bit more of a harsh look. So we're gonna keep it nice and soft still, even though it's bold. And then we'll do the same thing. See how that's not connected per se? If you want to connect it, just take this right on the edges and connect that. And that gives that full look. Nice and easy. Okay, so I'm gonna hold off on the lashes for now. I am gonna come back and do those, but what I wanna do next is, I think I'll actually just do one quick coat of mascara. We'll do that real quick. Because you should still put on a coat of your regular mascara, because it'll just help your fake lashes that we're going to put on. It's going to help those look even more full. But the reason I'm doing the fake lashes is because, as you can see, they get lost in the black. So the fake lashes are going to help really make this stand out. And I'll do a coat on the bottom real quick as well. Now there are lower lashes with this set that I'll be putting on here in a little bit. You guys can let me know if you want me to actually try to put those on. They're pretty intimidating. I can show them to you. This is what I'm going to be doing here in a few minutes. So these are the top ones, and these are the bottom ones. Those are pretty intense, but I mean, I've got bottom lashes, a fair amount of them, so maybe I could do it. Okay, so next up for the foundation. So we don't have any tan vampires walking around per se, so I'm gonna go with a shade of foundation, a few shades lighter, and I'm gonna be using a liquid foundation in the color Velour. So yes, I know it's not the right color for my skin tone. I'm actually about 3 shades darker than this, but the reason we want to do this is because we are creating, like I said, more of that gothic look for the show. So simply to do this, I love this stuff. Grab a liquid foundation brush, and I like to just go around the edges of it. I don't like to apply all of it down in the middle. There's a little divot there in the middle. And then what you want to do is start down the center of your face, and then you can kind of work your way out. So this is a matte finish, and it gives really nice, like, medium coverage, and it's just gonna go on really smooth and be really easy to work with. So we'll get this applied here. I may even apply some of it up here where I did that lighter color, just because this is so much lighter than my natural skin tone. It will really help add that lighter shade. But we'll get this blended in, so give me a second here, get this all blended out. But the reason you want to start down the center of your face, and this is, you know, even for your everyday type makeup, is so that you get the most coverage in the middle, and then you blend it out so that it looks more natural towards, you know, your hairline, your jawline. Now for this look, I'm definitely going to have to bring it down onto my neck, of course, because otherwise it's way too light, and it's not going to look good in the theater if your face is super light, but your neck is not. So here's what's super cool about this brush too. It's got the pointed end on it, so you can get in close, you know, around the brows and everything without worrying about screwing up your makeup that you've already applied. So very awesome. And then I'll even go back in with a slightly smaller brush. Look, you can clean that up real easy. And get that nice crisp line. And I'll probably even go back in too with that smaller brush as well. You could also go over it with some concealer if you needed to. So, okay. So let's bring this down onto the neck a bit. Now, most of the costumes are going to be a little bit higher neck, so that's going to be good. But I am going to make sure to get this blended up into the hairline really, really well because A, hair dye color, but also scalp color. You don't want the face to be super, super light and then have, up in the hairline be really, really dark or anything. And even so, notice I'm not adding more, but even so up into the ears, because you don't want your ears to be really dark or red or whatever, and then just totally look really weird with your face being so light. I'll clarify that. Okay, so let me add just a little bit more and bring this down onto my neck a little more. And then what we're going to do next is do a little bit of contouring. So first I'm going to just take actually I'm going to use this brush. I love this brush. This is a powder concealer brush. So you get powder, concealer end, and I'm going to go in with the translucent setting powder and set this before I apply any more. This is also just going to help blend out any spots that might not have blended as well. With using liquid foundations, even though I'm using a very high quality liquid foundation brush, you can still get a little bit of streaks if you haven't blended it as well. So going back over it with the translucent setting powder is going to just blend everything and give it a really amazing blurred soft look. And you don't have to use a ton of it, but it's also great then up by the hairline for just packing that color in and making sure again that your face color is flowing nice and smooth into your ears and to your jawline, your hairline. Okay. So next, like I said, let's do some contouring and then we'll move on to brows. So contouring, I've got a couple different options. Now I do have this really cool little highlight and contour stick, but I think that this is a little too brown, a little too warm toned for the look that I'm going for. I almost want something a little bit more gray. So I think what I'm going to do actually start with this and get this applied just in the general vicinity of where I want it. And I'll show you guys a little trick for kind of knowing where to apply this. So when you're doing, and this is for any contour, this is not just for theater stuff. Basically what you want to do, kind of like the middle of your ear, right? So if you look at your cheekbone, right under the cheekbone, you're going to find a divot. Mine's right there. And that should be about how far you bring it in. It's also about the outside of your iris right here, okay? So you're going to bring your color in there and there. You're keeping it low so you can see, before I blend where I'm putting those colors. So then what I want to do next is I'm going to go ahead and blend that a little bit, see what that's going to look like. And then I'm just going to go back and take that same transition color of eyeshadow that we used up here, and I'm going to go right over this warm tone with that. But because this is a legit highlight contour stick that is meant for this job, I do still want to use it, but I am going to go ahead and layer that with another color over it to make this darker and more chiseled for the look that we're going for. And that's what's so fun about this is you can just kind of keep layering it and layering it and layering it and just kind of doing what you want, changing the color, making it softer, making it more bold, making, the lines more harsh, so they're maybe not as blended. Whatever you kind of feel you need to do, that's just the fun of makeup, is that you can keep changing it. So I'm just going to add a little more in here. Just make that a little bit more noticeable there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing up and around here. You can have fun with it. You can do little color, shapes and whatnot. Or not. You also don't have to do that. But when you're doing the contour up around here, you're really just kind of keeping it right in that hairline. And I like, because the thing with using any foundation all over your face is that you are essentially taking out the high points and low points of your face. And so by doing this and adding those highlights and contours back in, you're adding the dimension back into your face. Okay, so We've added this, but you don't want to bring this color down too far because then it's going to look like your head is indented. Seriously. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, still using the same brush here, this is highlight contour brush, I'm going to take that same matte shade that I used earlier, that eyeshadow shade, and I get that on my brush. There we go. See if get that on there. And we're going to add that color in. And I'll do the same on this side. And then I also want to add a little down here, just of this color, to really chisel out the jawline. And I'll come back and blend that here in a minute so you guys can see that too. Okay, so this is looking really nice. I was a little nervous to do that, but I think that turned out really, really good. And also, you know, for theater makeup, you really have to layer it on more. You really, to make it stand out. You know, the crowd has to be able to see it, so you're maybe not 100% blending everything down as much as you normally would. Okay. So I'm going to stay away from using any sort of bronzers today, but I do want to just make sure that that is nice and smooth transition. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take just a little bit of this really pretty maroon color here. It's an eyeshadow again, but it's a darker shade. And I'm going to get just a little bit of that on this brush and just go right over the very tip top of that contour with it. I don't want to add too much color, but I do want to add just a touch of it to it. And then we're going to start blending a little bit. Hey Julie, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. You think I could be a vampire? Maybe, huh? Okay, so now let me go back and grab the setting powder again and that same brush that I used a minute ago. And I'm just kind of going right over the top of that color that I added and right in here, and just make sure that that's blended nicely. You don't want anything, like I said, you don't want anything too harsh, but you want it to still look good. Okay. So we've added some really nice contour in here. And just like I said, just kind of blending this so that those colors are looking really nice all together. Okay. Next, let's go touch up some brows. How about that? So I'm going to be using a brow palette for this. You could also use a brow pencil, whatever works best for you. And I also use a brow artist brush. So that's one of these. It's got two ends on it, so you can do what you need to do for your brows. So I'm going to outline starting with the darkest color in my brow palette here, so you guys can see what that looks like. And I prefer to start up at the top here and just lightly work my way down. And again up here. And I'm probably going to fill these in just a little bit darker. A lot of times I'll mix in this light color here. I'll fill in with that color and do the outline with the dark color. But because this is, again, for theater and, you know, meant to be very dramatic, I'm going to go ahead and overdo it on the brows just a little bit and make them darker than normal all the way through and really make them pop. So you just use little tiny strokes, and certainly using the correct tools is a huge benefit. Makes this way easier than if you're just trying to use, you know, too fluffy of a brush, or you maybe a brush that doesn't have an angle. That's going to be really difficult for you to do brows even on, you know, just a regular day. So make sure that you are using the correct tools. That's going to make it way easier for you. Okay, so let me just blend this up a bit here on the front. And let me fill this in here. Get nice and close so you guys can see what's going on. I just had my brows tinted and shaped the other day, and I really like how that turned out, because even those little fine baby hairs, it tinted those and then made them more noticeable, which was really cool. Okay, so next side here, again, this is just my preference. I like to start at the peak and kind of know where I'm going, and then I bring it down, and then I start in the front and kind of figure out what my angle needs to be. So that's something important too, is pay attention to how you're holding the brushes. Make sure that you're holding them the right way. Make sure that you're holding them at the right angle. And you'll learn this as you go along, but you know, if I were, say, need to hold the brush here and I'm holding it too much straight on, it's going to be harder to see and harder to get the right angle on the brow. So just a couple little tips for you guys if you're wanting to do something like this at home. All right, let me work on the bottom for a minute, and then I'm gonna work on blending all of that back in together. So if you have questions about the brow palette, let me know, or the brush. I'd be happy to answer those for you guys. It's I really like them, and it's fairly easy to use. I mean, brows take some patience, learning how to, you know, properly fill in and shade and all that stuff. But if you have the right tools, that's like the first big hurdle to it. So, okay. So we've got, let's see where I need to touch these up. Another thing to remember with brows too is just get them close, you know, to looking the same, because they're never going to be the exact same. It's kind of like winged eyeliner, okay? So just remember that. Don't be too hard on yourself about your brows. Just get them close. All right, so I'm just blending up and just taking what's already on the brush here, just to kind of fill in and blend so that the line isn't too harsh, but certainly want it shaped. Okay, let me go ahead and brush this out a little bit. Okay, all right. So, oops. Okay, next up, drop my highlighter contour stick. I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight under my eyes here. Down the center of my nose and up in here. And I think what I want to use to blend this today, I'm actually going to use the concealer end of that fave brush of mine. And just help blend this in a V shape. So that gives you kind of that natural highlight look. Now, because it's already pretty light anyway, because I want, you know, a few shades lighter than my natural foundation shade, it won't show up quite as much and be quite as dramatic as it could be if you use this, you know, maybe with your regular foundation shade. But it still gives you that highlight look. So you bring that all the way down, kind of in a V shape, but see how well that blended out and how soft that looks? Next, you're going to do the same thing, just kind of right up your nose here, up into the forehead. You're just creating a nice highlight there. Then I think what I'll do is I will take, if I want to use that foundation brush again, maybe. Let me think about that a second. But I do want to add some of that color right up in here. I'm just debating which brush I want to use for that. Okay, cool. Liking it a lot here. And actually, let's do this too. Let me add a little contour here. Here's a trick for making your nose look thinner. Fill in very lightly, don't get crazy, with your contour color. And then you just kind of blend that. And that will help pull your nose in and make it look thinner. And I have a bigger nose, but I don't always use this trick because it's just not It's not me, but it is a nice little trick to use. Okay, so let's see, we've got our highlight done, and I wanted to add just a little bit of it right up here, and then I'm going to blend that. Probably use a concealer brush to blend this, but this is also going to help highlight that brow area too. So give me a second here, let's try this. So again, this goes back to having the right tools. You know, this would be very hard to do if you were trying to do this, say, with a brush that was too fluffy, or your finger, for example. So this is a concealer brush. It's not fluffy, but it does move nicely, but it's thin. So it does give you some blending abilities while still giving you good control of that color and where you're going with the brush. Then what I'll do is I'll take that same blending brush that I used earlier to apply that transition color. I'm not going to add anything more to it, but I'm just going to help blend that together. But then we still have that nice little highlight by the brow. Okay, all right, so let's try magnetic lashes. What do you guys think about that? I'm a little nervous because I've never done this before, and let's see, okay. So you're gonna remove them and lay them on top of your natural lash line, and then you place it below your natural lash line and connect the two magnetic lashes together. Okay, I mean, it seems easy enough, but we'll see. Okay, so the cool tip that I learned at the store was that you shouldn't, excuse me, not that you shouldn't, but you can try it, would be to apply the entire lash together. She said that her sister uses these, and what she does to make it apply easier is to actually cut these in half, if not even 3 pieces, and apply it in sections. So what I want to do, so here's what they look like. Here's your upper and your lower. What I'm going to do, because I want to see first how easy it is. I first just I'm going to try to apply the whole thing. Ignoring the advice from the lady at the store. I don't know if this is going to focus enough for you guys to see. Probably not. It's very, very thin. The magnets are tiny. So I got to figure out here just how exactly to get these apart. Let's see if they gave me instructions here. Move it. Gently remove upper magnetic. Gently move under. Oh! I get it now. How silly of me. This isn't your lower, it's upper and under, not upper and lower. Gosh, okay. So let's see how well these, oh look, okay. So they do magnetize together pretty easily. So she was saying you put this on the top first. Oh boy. And then underneath. So let's see. I will try to do this all in one piece, but if not, I'm cutting these in half. So you would line it up on your natural lash line. She said to hold it between your index finger and your thumb, like this, okay? I feel like I could get like really close, so they just snap together real easy. So, okay, can you guys see that? I was like, did I do it? I did not. I did not do it. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Boy, this will be tough. I can already tell, like, okay. I just gotta make sure I got them lined up the right way first though. But they do peel apart like really easy. It's not like when you do go to remove these, it's not gonna be hard to do. Okay, so apply here. Problem is I'm blinking way too much. Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, I almost got it. What is going on over in this corner? I don't have that one in far enough on my lashes. Hold on, I need to, can you see that? It's almost on. Almost. Almost. Okay, I need, so I basically have half of it on. Fantastic. And this is why she said that you should cut it in half. So this is what we're gonna cut it in half. So I have it together right now, so I have my magnets lined up. I cut it in half, so we'll take these back apart here. And we'll clip on the outside half first, and then I'll do the inside half. So you just line it up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Gosh, this is hard doing this in this camera. And not just like in a regular mirror. Okay, what do I have going on here? Oh, that's a mess. Hold on. Okay, so turn it this way. Sorry to keep you guys waiting, but I guess this is a good practice. Gosh darn it. So you know how hard or easy these are to do. Okay, let's see here. It's just, like I said, it's just really hard to do in the camera. But I want you guys to be able to see this, but maybe I'll just step aside. So you lay it on your lashes and then hold your lashes and the magnetic ones. And then you put the bottom ones, the under ones, on. Okay, if I don't get it this time, okay. I'm just gonna step off screen for a second maybe and go over to my mirror so that you guys don't have to keep waiting for me to do this, because it's getting a little ridiculous at this point. Okay. The other key too is making sure you've got them lined up right. That's obviously a really important feature of these. But I just thought that these would be better to use than fake eyelashes. Okay, hang tight. Let me get my mirror, my stand-up mirror, and just bring that over here. It's not gonna be tall enough for you guys to see, but at least I'll be right here and you can at least hear what I'm doing. Okay, and then maybe we'll get an idea of really how quickly these could be applied. Okay, cool. I also think it might be easier to hold the bottom lashes, the under lashes, on the very ends. Like, instead of trying to hold them too far up to where they are magnetized, hold them down on the end like that, and I think that's going to make it easier for these to go on too. Okay. Gosh, it's not easy, guys. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Because they magnetize together really well. So, I mean, that's not the problem. It's just really the problem is getting them balanced on your lashes so that you can get them lined up together. Okay. I got one half on. Look at that. Ooh, they feel, I mean, they're fine. They don't feel bad or anything like that. Just not used to having that going on. All right, cool. So now I can do the other half. And I don't know where the other half went, so maybe I'll just do the other eye. I set it down here on my table and now I don't see them. Okay, whatever. I will do the other eye and I'll find the other half later. Okay, and I'm gonna cut these as well. Or maybe not. Maybe now that I'm using a mirror, let me see how well they go on. Still a hole, but in front of a mirror, and see if that's any easier. But I will say it is easier if you hold them at the bottoms instead of up by the magnets. Almost had it. The whole thing too, that would have been nice. Okay, make sure I got them lined up right. Hold them on the bottom. Okay, yeah, it really is going to be easier to cut them in half. So let me snip this one, line it up and then snip this one in half. And I'll pay attention to where I actually am clipping off this half, like I did on the other pair. Okay, if I can get this, just half of this on quickly, then I'll move on. But this is kind of, I think the only other thing I have left to do are my lips. I seriously do not know who has the patience to put these on like every day. I don't. But they'll look really nice when they're done. Okay, come on, little guy. Okay, got that one on quicker this time. Oh, and I found my other lashes. Look at that. So what I did is I just very carefully balanced it on the top lashes and then just kind of snuck the bottom one up there very carefully. So let me try it again. This is on the inside though for this one, so let's see. And then if I can do it again, I'll show you guys what I did. Inside's definitely more difficult. You guys, thanks for your patience, for sure, because this is not, like I said, it gives you a glimpse on how hard or easy this is going to be and how much time this is going to take to actually do. Okay, I have done it, finally. I have the whole freaking eyelash on this eye. So, what you can do to make this easier, it's still not easy, but let's see, okay, let me lay this on here correctly for starters. So very carefully, you're going to, if you can, well, what helped me just now was to apply it from underneath. So I laid it on the top lashes. So let me lay that on there as best I can, and then try very, very hard not to blink, and then again, holding it at the right angle makes all the difference. Look, and there you go. Now I have them on. You see those? Ooh, those are fun. Imagine what that would look like if I had on like light eyeshadow. You guys could really, really see. Check those out. All right, cool. So we've now successfully done this after 10 minutes. I successfully have magnetic eyelashes on. Great. All right, so next up I want to add, I do want to add, again, I want to go back to just a touch of color, of that maroon color with the blush. It's not really, I don't want it to look a whole lot like blush because that's probably just not terribly accurate, but it does need a little more pop of color in here. So I think that will help kind of bring, because otherwise it almost looks like it's all too down, too low. But I also think it's important to not just have only that dark contour color. So there, I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, so lastly, let's go ahead. I'm gonna get my lip brush. And I have chosen this really pretty dark purple color that I have here. This one. And it is called Spellbound. And it is a liquid. And so I'm actually, instead of using this that comes with it, I'm actually going to use a lip brush because it does give this, it gives a more precise application because this stuff is pretty moussey. So I'm just going to apply that onto my lip brush. I'm going to work from there. Do I want to? No, never mind. Because when this color goes on, it looks almost black, but it's really, really dark purple. So the benefit, of course, to using the brush is it's smaller and you can get really clean lines with it versus the applicator that comes with it. Now what you could do is just use it to get the color on, like so, and then pull it out. Just consulting that side mirror that I've got here. So I'll need a little more here. And again, I'll just spread that around with the lip brush. I want to make sure to really pull that down good so that you're getting the full look. Especially for theater, you can take a little liberty and give yourself a little bit fuller lips. There we go. And then if we have any spots where we need to clean up a little bit, very easily done. Just grab like a really thin brush. There we go. Okay. So I think, I'll maybe play around with this a little bit more, but I think that is going to be at least one of our looks for Dracula. I think that'll be fun. I took a couple before pictures, and then I'll take some after pictures as well, so that you guys can see kind of the before and after what it looks like. But yeah, if you've got questions about what I did here, let me know. Kind of fun, something totally different to play around with. And there we go. Look at that. That's not good. There. All right, so if you guys have questions, let me know, and I will talk with you later. Bye.